Two Oklahoma students recently found themselves at odds with their school's policies. One because of what she said, the other for what he wore. As a new school year begins, that raises the question, what are students' First Amendment rights when they attend public schools?
As Caitlin Newtbar was preparing for her freshman year in college, she was also making national news.
A high school valedictorian denied her diploma because she used a 4-letter word in her graduation speech. We're going to talk to her exclusively in just a moment, but first, her story.
Caitlin's speech was approved by her principal at Prague High School, but while giving it, she changed one word. Heck became hell.
I did not think that it would get that big at all. You know, they're going to ask us what we want to be, and we're going to say, who the hell knows?
Does policy trump First Amendment rights in schools?
Not always.
Tulsa attorney Doug Dodd practices First Amendment and media law.
You don't leave your constitutional rights at the schoolhouse door. That's sort of a baseline consideration.
Dodd served as a Tulsa school board member for more than a decade and heard many appeals concerning students' rights. He says school policy can override First Amendment rights if the learning environment is affected.
A school can prohibit disruption in the classroom. They can prohibit or discipline students for standing up in the middle of the classroom and saying at the top of their lungs the Pledge of Allegiance, I suppose, if it was disruptive to the learning environment. So it's not always just the words that are used, it's the way in which they're used that is more likely to provide some type of prohibition.
What happened in the Prague School District was a topic of discussion at a recent annual conference attended by more than 1,700 school board members and administrators across the state.
Speaking with other superintendents at this conference, it's become an issue that, obviously, we probably do need to look at that. And when is it appropriate to give a student a microphone, and how much leeway is there? And what word does she have to say before the community gets upset?
Ryan Owens is general counsel for the Cooperative Council of Oklahoma School Administration.
Obviously, schools have an interest to make sure that what's said inside school is appropriate and doesn't disrupt the educational environment. So somewhere between full free speech and orderly education, it's a gray area, but somewhere in between those two ideas is where a student's speech is.
He says news reports have missed a key point.
I've watched the Today Show, I've listened to the legal pundits talk about what happened in Prague, and I think what we're all missing here is the local school board. I think the Board of Education will ultimately have to decide this situation.
Dr. Jeff Mills is the executive director of the Oklahoma State School Boards Association. He agrees school boards should decide policy and rights issues.
A principal in a building does not have the authority to change a policy. A superintendent in a building does not have the authority to change a policy. If they don't follow the policies that the board has given them, then they're in jeopardy of losing their job.
Regarding Caitlin's speech, Prague Superintendent Rick Martin says the district has no written policy on student speeches.
We've not had a written policy in the past regarding oral presentations. The practice for many years that speeches are submitted for review by the principal and approved prior to presentation to graduation.
After conferring with the school's attorney, Martin agreed to an interview, his first since the story broke.
I anticipate that a policy will now be written to address oral presentations. This will ultimately be a decision by the Prague Board of Education based on recommendations from administration, staff, community members, and legal counsel. Considerations will include students and their parents signing a contract that lists expectations and consequences, videotaping of speeches prior to the graduation and played at the ceremony, or possibly eliminating graduation speeches altogether.
Another Oklahoma student also recently made national news. 5-year-old Cooper Barton wore a University of Michigan t-shirt to his kindergarten class. Cooper violated Oklahoma City's school dress code, which prohibits wearing any clothing depicting athletic teams except Oklahoma colleges and universities.
As their story is heard all over the nation.
There's pictures of me all over the world.
Excuse me, Cooper, all over the world. The 5-year-old kindergartner who was asked to change his t-shirt inside out at school has turned into a Michigan cult hero.
I can't imagine any kind of rule that a school would have where it would be entitled to say you can't wear a shirt that has the name of a state or a college on it. I think that one is in a lot more trouble than than perhaps the valedictorian question.
Dodd says school rules, including policies on student speech, have to meet a legal standard.
Well, first, the rule has to be rational. There has to be some basis in the rule that is something more than the school just saying, we don't like these words and we're not going to let you say them.
The Oklahoma City school dress code was designed to prevent students from wearing gang colors. School administrators say the policy is now being reviewed.